This video is my first session with this 2-year-old Sorrel stud colt. The first thing I go to do in the round pen is establish direction. When I first started walking off with him there, he's not really paying attention to me. And I get after him and get him moving. He wants to rest on the near side of the round pen there where the other horses are. So that'll be a consistent thing towards the beginning of the session. And I'll try to put more pressure on him there and less pressure on him on the far side of the round pen to try to encourage him to not want to be near his buddies. He wanted to face up right there, so I went ahead and stopped and let him. It's very important that he learns how to give inside turns and look at me with two eyes. When I go to put a little more pressure on him there, he goes to leave, which is fine. The consistent thing here is whenever he wants to leave, we just go right back to work. But like I said, the first thing I do in the round pen is establish direction. There he's pretty set on staying with his buddies. So I try to keep putting pressure on him and keep him going the same direction we were going to start out with. I don't want him to decide when he turns around. So I'll just keep pushing on him. And eventually I'll give him an opportunity to face up. But if he doesn't, if he's not interested or makes an outside turn, then we go back to work. This is this guy's very first session being worked with. He's been handled in a set of corrals before, and he's been loaded on a trailer a few times, but he's never been worked with in the round pen. This guy kind of got freed up here at this point and wanted to travel around the round pen a little bit. I took the pressure off some, gave him the opportunity to face up, and he didn't, so I hurried to put him back on the circle he was originally on. He wants to cut into my circle on the far side here on this next round, and he'd been kind of consistent about that. Put pressure on him by the other horses, and I put a little pressure on him right there, trying to get him to go back out on the outside of the circle, and he runs into the fence. Just had to test it out and make sure it wasn't going to break, I guess. After that, he didn't really try the fence anymore. Trying to give him the opportunity to face up, but he doesn't understand yet. Just trying to encourage the right thing here. I stay after him. Sometimes it takes a little bit of work where they're breathing a little bit harder for them to want to think about stuff. This guy wasn't super confident about his leads in this session. He does quite a bit of crossfiring around, but he eventually sort of figures it out. Give him another opportunity right there, but he made another outside turn. And you'll notice I keep asking him, giving him the opportunity to face up on the far side of the round pen, because I don't want to give him a chance to rest on the closer side of the round pen to the camera where his buddies are. If I'm going to let him rest, I want to let him rest on the other side. I tried to set it up again, and once again he turned to the outside. This is just a game of consistency here. And eventually he'll figure out what I'm looking for. I grab my flag there, so I'm a little more effective with my pressure. There, I give him the opportunity to face up, and he considers giving 2 eyes, and then goes to turn the other way. So we go ahead and keep working. Give him another chance here. My goal is not to just run him around the round pen mindlessly. I'm always looking for something. Right now, the name of the game is 2 eyes, inside turns. Kind of giving them the opportunity to slow down and think a little bit on the outside of the round pen, on the far side. And I'm trying to put more pressure on him over by the other horses where he wants to stop. I'm really hunting for 2 eyes right here. Trying to give him a chance. Trying to put a little pressure on him with my flag, and when he looks at me, I retreat. Then I step back in, look again. When he looks at me, I retreat. When he's not interested and looks away, I step back in. Right there, he looks at me and almost takes a step to the inside. Here I ask him to change directions, an inside turn, and he does. And I try to make it real gentle for him until he changes directions. So he'd been going on a left circle for quite a while there. So he tried to turn around to get back on that circle that was more comfortable for him. Now we're on this right circle. He offered to face up right there. I didn't ask him. I would love to encourage him facing up when I ask him, but I don't want him to decide when he gets to stop. So I get after him. It needs to be my decision when he rests and where. I give him a chance right here, but he's not paying attention. See how much he's cutting into the circle on the right-hand side there, just to try to make a faster beeline back at his buddies. So I try to hurry him along. He's just cutting the circle down. Like I said, it's just a game of consistency. So this guy's registered name is High Lonesome Dasher. He's a Copper Side Dasher son out of a daughter of Lonsum Drift 045. And he also goes back to Frosty Feature and Texas High Dasher on the top, and High Rolling Lucky and High Rolling Roany on the bottom. We just keep rolling right here. Put more pressure on him by his buddies, and I'm trying to give him a chance to slow down on the other side. He goes to offer an outside turn right there, and I hurry him back onto the circle. Just more of the same game. Finally, he considers slowing down, and gives me 2 eyes right there, so I retreat. He kind of wants to walk forward, and I step to cut him off. And we just stand, which is exactly what I was looking for. We roll into another clip right here, and I'm working on approach and retreat. Once a horse is consistent about facing me up, I will start messing with approach and retreat and looking for their hip. And with this guy, I'm reaching out and trying to pet on him right away. Of the 3 colts that I got in this little batch, this one was the most gentle around people, and he did not take long at all to get through to. He really wanted to be around people from the very start. When he stops and lets me pet him, then I quit and retreat. He's pretty happy to stand there. I go to approach him on the other side, and I'm working on touching him on the neck. Very, very willing colt. He takes forward steps towards me. That's excellent stuff. I set my halter up a little bit better so I can mess with that. I go to approach him on the left, but he kind of sets me up to approach him on the right, so that's what I end up doing. I toss my halter over his neck here, and when he goes to leave, I just let go. As an alternative to roping, this is kind of a sneaky way to get a halter on one. And this round pen is pretty big. It's probably a 50 or 60 footer, so it's not really easy to halter one in the round pen here with this method, but it is an option if a person doesn't want to rope one. So while he's backing up, moving around, I grab the end of my lead rope, and then I play around to try to pick up the end of my halter rope. And if I can get that accomplished, then I can make a loop out of it, and I have a rope around his neck until I can get the halter actually on him. And if he wants to leave, I try to hold on to it right there, but I end up losing it. If he goes to leave, you can't really hold on to the rope very well because it's not being held by anything yet. So I work my way up to him again, let him sniff at me a little bit, and I go to pet on him, but he's not really wanting to stand for me. So I just stay there. If he wants to leave, then we go ahead and go right back to work. Because playing my little game, giving me 2 eyes, and being pet is way easier than working. This is why you establish direction first. So you always have a thing to fall back on and make them work if they're not really going your way. There he gives me 2 eyes. It's a lot easier for him to give me 2 eyes now. I go to approach him, but I'm being pretty thoughtful about it. Oh, I messed up my throw there. Throw the halter back over him, and I didn't get it far enough. So I did it again, but it was too far that time. Still ended up working out the way I was hoping, though. I just let him stand there and think about it for a second. And I kind of try to whip it up over the neck a little bit higher than where it is, so it'll be easier to grab the halter piece. I use a 12-foot lead on these halters. My friend over at Circle B Horsemanship makes them for me, and they're really nice. So I'm just playing the game here, messing with his balance point, his drive line, and trying to get at an angle where I can get a hold of that halter. He goes to turn around, so I just drop my lead rope and go to approach from the other side. Now, normally I would push him off if he gave me an outside turn here, but I'm kind of working an angle trying to get this halter on him, so I'm going to let it slide. Kind of just walk up to him right here, and I grab the halter itself. It goes around his nose right there, but he handles it and waits. There I got the end of my lead. So I'll put the tail of the lead rope through the noseband of the halter, and then I've got something around his neck, and I can play with a little bit of pressure and release with the rope for the first time. He's pretty doggone willing to let me just walk right up to him and pet on him. If you watch the haltering videos with the other two colts from this bunch, you'll see that that's not always the case with them. This colt is exceptionally gentle. He's just never really been asked to do anything specific like this. He's very okay with me touching him on the face and on his neck. I kind of step in here. And I'm messing with being able to touch him on the neck where the halter will be. I need to get him comfortable with being touched with both hands. There, I'm looking for his hip. Like that. He kind of wants to step into me a little bit. He's backing an arc. I'm not really looking for that. I'm just wanting to be able to stand up next to him. But I'm using the opportunity to scratch on him and pet on him. There he gives his hip. I have a hold of the end of my lead rope and the tail end of the halter. I dropped it right there when he got into a little bit of trouble. I don't want to put enough pressure on him here where he feels like he needs to blow up and sell out. I'm kind of just playing with him. Patting him on the shoulder there. I'm blocking him from putting his head over me. He wants to put me on his right side pretty bad. If he wants to back up, I'll just stay with him and ask him to disengage those hinds. If he goes to leave, I'll put pressure on his neck and look for him to give me two eyes, or at least yield and step a front, just like that. There, he's pretty happy to put me on his right side. So I go on his right side and ask him to step a front. He's pretty reluctant, doesn't really know what I'm looking for, and then faces me up again. When he faces me up and relaxes, we just stand and rest for a minute. Here I'm looking for his hip on that other side. He wants to back up. I'm just looking for little stuff, one step at a time. Doesn't need to be perfect or pretty. It's all just little tries at this point. So I'm always messing around with being able to pet on him more. Here I go to rearrange the halter a little. So while the halter is in this goofy configuration, I will kind of juggle it around and put it on, and then take the lead rope out from being through the noseband, and voila, your halter's on. I'm looking for him to take a step to me there. He's kind of acting like he wants to leave. Here I just go ahead and halter him and tie it on. If he goes to walk away, I kind of just try to stay with him. And then I gotta finagle the lead rope out of the halter from the way I had it. And just like that, the halter's on for the first time. That is one janky method that I have used instead of roping one for the first time to get a halter on him. And this is not a small pen. You've got to do a little bit of homework with the horse to get him set up before you can just do this. He gets a little bit worried by the pressure there, so I stick with him until I can get a forward step. Here I had to swap drone batteries, so the drone's on the other side of the round pen in this clip. And we're just playing with all the same stuff. I'm looking for him to step his quarters and introducing, taking forward steps. Working on more approach and retreat and petting on him. Really basic stuff here. Again, this was the very first time that this colt has ever had a halter on. And look at how willing he is. He tries really hard. He really wants to come off my pressure, take forward steps. This guy really likes people, and he's super gentle. It's pretty cool when they come to me, quote unquote, untouched, and they're this nice on their first session. What a nice little guy. This guy's going to be fun. I'm excited to see how he turns out. I do a lot of petting on him. If he goes to leave, I'll bend him around and look for that hip. I have a lot more purchase now with the halter on him than I did with just a rope around his neck. I'll just stick in there and wait until he's comfortable and can stand before I quit. All really basic stuff. Just like that. Lots of petting. Super, super nice little horse. Just a 2-year-old. Take a forward step. Kind of step his fronts across right there. Just walk around to the other side and scratch on him. Over his back and neck, both hands at the same time. He just doesn't care. Super nice. Look for his hip. I work a lot on stepping those quarters around. Working hinds and fronts. Looking for that front foot to take a step now. Wasn't perfect, but he yielded to my pressure somehow. So I set it up again and praise him when he does. Now here's the real test. I take the halter off. Go to put it back on. I want to use this opportunity to show him how to be haltered so he's easier next time. Both arms around his neck. Have him tip his head to me. And I quit. I walk over and open my gate. I did get him wormed during this first session too. I was pretty happy with that. And just for shiggles, I decided to see if he'd let me catch him right here. It's kind of a bad spot. He could just roll out of there and leave if he wanted to. But he lets me walk right up to him and halter him. What a nice guy. I was pretty impressed with this colt. This was a really nice first session for him. He'll be a fun one to watch progress. Once again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. It was a long one. Pretty good one, though.